Hi everyone, we're back. Sorry about the technical difficulties that we had. Thank you for your patience. We're going to go ahead and start again with Lisa and Mike from UPMC Pinnacle Memorial Support Group. Lisa has just celebrated 2 years smoke-free, May 21st.
Yes.
And I also wanted to add, here we are on World No Tobacco Day, talking with Lisa and Mike about this journey. And Mike, I know you've been a big part of Lisa's quit, supporting her the entire time.
Yep, I'm here to support her.
You both are amazing and really help each other out in this journey. So Lisa, when did you start smoking? How old were you?
I was about 14 when I started to try them out to be cool. And by age 16, I was definitely I was a smoker by 16.
So it took you about 2 years to get up to that,
Yes.
to a regular
Yes.
smoker. And how many packs of cigarettes did you smoke in a day?
I was up to 2.
Had you tried to quit before? Or
I did. A couple of times I tried myself, but I wasn't really going anywhere. I didn't have all the information, or I just didn't know where to turn.
was there a significant event that made you decide to quit? And when did you, and actually, what made you decide to do this?
I had 2 brothers that had, passed back in 2016. They both had lung cancer and both passed within 3 months of each other. So that was definitely a push to, hey, because they smoked too. And it definitely made me think I really need to do something.
And how did you start the process when you really knew at this point that you wanted to do this?
I went on the internet and was looking for support groups so that maybe that could help me, at least get my foot in the door and try to get me where I needed to be. And I ran into your group on the internet, and I like you, I remember that day oh so well. And yeah, so I went to your class, and everybody there was a huge help.
I remember that night very well when you came in. And you shared with us that you actually couldn't quite find it and were really struggling, but you did. You found the group.
I did.
You did.
Yes.
So, did you find the groups useful?
Most definitely. Everybody there, very helpful. I always gave you information to help you, because they always said what all they did to quit, and anything is good. Any information is good. So your group is wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you. Did you have a support system with friends and family? And this is where, Mike, if you want to chime in a little bit and talk about that support system.
So she actually let me know, don't ask questions all the time throughout, the beginning of it. So I just had to learn to step back. And if she told me, a few weeks down the road after the process was started, how she was doing, then I would encourage her then. But otherwise, I just supported her. And if she started a new hobby to keep her time busy, I may have helped her out with that, or supported her with that, or encouraged her. But other than that, I didn't say, hey, how you doing with not smoking today? You just don't say that. So that's kind of how that went. And then I started going to the support groups just as encouragement and support, to stay involved, but yet not continually asking how she's doing. So I would say that was the main support that I had.
And Mike did attend nicotine support group with Lisa every single time, and I really, that was amazing how you supported me through that. And I know that when you talk about this, Lisa will say how many days she's smoke free, and you will say how many days that you're secondhand smoke free.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, or how you feel about that, when it comes to, hey, now I'm in a tobacco-free environment, and it's just amazing everything she has done.
Yeah, it is nice, and now, you kind of get used to it, and now if I do smell secondhand smoke, it does, bother me more than before. I notice it more, I'm sure, as a non-smoker also would. So It's very nice.
When I work with families and partners, what happens is sometimes friends and family think what they may be saying or doing is helpful to people, but sometimes it's not. And it's important to step up and say, you know, when you do this, this is helpful. But when you ask me about my smoking every day or do things remind me of when I used to smoke, sometimes that's not helpful. So it's important because we all can't read minds. So it's important to let our loved ones know what helps and what doesn't help. Did you use any cessation aids, Lisa?
I did. I did the patch, and I did that probably a week or two, and I knew it wasn't really, I couldn't feel anything. So I'm sure it was doing its job, but I couldn't feel anything. So I knew it wasn't really helpful to me. So, and I remember in your class that you said that you could do 2 NRTs at once, just at a very short time. So I did, and I still had the patch on, but I also used the lozenge for these times where I really needed to feel something. So that really helped me, you know, and then about a month after that, I was able to take the patch off and just do the lozenge, and I kept them in my car, in the house. I kept them everywhere, because that way, no matter where I was at, I can get one and do that for a couple minutes and put it aside, and I was fine.
It sounded like when you knew you could use 2 medications, it really helped.
It did. I remember that. I remember me telling you that it wasn't enough. The patch just wasn't doing it for me, and that's when you said it, and that it just dawned on me like, oh my God, I think I can do this now. So that was, yeah. It was still hard, but it was doable.
But it did. So it increased your confidence.
Yes,
Remember we talked about that.
Yes.
And that's important to know too, because people can try so many times, and it usually does take someone who smokes anywhere from 4 to 10 times or more to be successful. So sometimes I'll ask, well, what have you tried? Do you know that there's cessation medication there to help in the quit process? Not everyone can do this cold turkey. For some people, it can be a single event. For other people, it's more of this process of learning and using medication and changing my routine and getting effective support where I need it. So different things, I say this a lot, but different things really work for different people.
It does.
So I'm so glad that worked for you.
Thank you.
Well, I always tell her, you know.
I remember that, and that's what did it. That is what 90% of it was, just that.
You know, and you had the toolbox. I just gave you a couple extra tools.
You did.
You
did. Thank you.
To help you. So, we may have talked about this. Did you find it difficult to be around secondhand smoke after quitting?
At first, yeah, I tried to stay away from it because if I even smelled it, it would be horrible. It was just my mind, and then me. I just constantly think about it, but I kept myself out of these situations for a little bit until I knew I was going to be okay.
And that's actually the next question. How do you handle situations or avoid the temptation around friends or family members that continue to smoke? What did you do differently?
I just stood away from them, or if, for instance, I don't want to say a bar, but if I went somewhere where they smoked, at that time I didn't go because I knew I'd be putting myself into a position I didn't want to be in yet, or dancing, or wherever I smoked and did a couple of things. I just stayed away from until I knew I was fine to go ahead and gather that and make that step back to my old life, but it's a better life.
And really the first 3 months is the most crucial when it comes to avoiding these triggers in our life, when it comes to smoking. So, but it sounds like you can go into those situations now.
Yes, doesn't bother me.
Did you ever think that you would be here 2 years later?
No, I remember in your taking the class, I remember this one lady, very nice. She said she was 6 months smoke-free, and my jaw just dropped. I was like, oh my God. You know, I couldn't imagine that. And that's and I'm thinking if she can do it, I can. And it's just so many things that, you know, the support is awesome. Support is awesome. No, I still tell people to this day, hey, I'm 2 years smoke-free when I see them.
And Lisa rewarded herself with so many things. When we talk about the quitting process, sometimes it's easy to get down on ourselves if we think we failed a few times, and those negative thoughts can creep in. But
Right.
you always try to replace that and turn your thoughts around and make them positive.
Did I tried? Yeah.
What
My
are some of
husband,
He
takes me to New York City. He takes me to Canada. Where all did we go?
She just likes to travel
I
more
just
now because
love to
she
just
doesn't have to have the, you know, she doesn't mind the driving, the airplane rides, where she maybe didn't like that before. Now she enjoys it and seeing, you know, out walking a lot. She's a lot better with that. So she kind of turned the negative of smoking into a positive, travel and doing some other hobbies.
I know when you think about the quality of your life, what it's like now, and everything you're doing now, from before when you were smoking and you weren't able to participate in some of these things. How does that make you feel?
It's a totally different world. I mean, I don't have to worry about, do I have enough cigarettes on me? Did I put that cigarette out? I'm down driving, going to work, and I think, oh my God, did I put my cigarette out? I don't have none of that anymore. I don't have to think about if I have to stop somewhere or if we go somewhere. Every half an hour we were stopping so I can go out and smoke, and it was just, it's a lot of time involved in smoking, a lot. And it's wonderful not having to worry about any of it anymore. The smell, now I don't get on anybody if I see them because that's still going to be me forever, I'm sure. You know, so I'm a smoker, but I'm a non-smoker now, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Do you ever get any cravings or urges anymore?
No. I think I've had quite a few months, probably 5, 6, till I was okay, to where I didn't even think about smoking at all. Seeing somebody didn't hurt me after a while, but at first, yeah. If I was driving, I was at a stoplight, somebody in front of me was smoking, and you saw it, I was like, oh, I grabbed my Nicorette lozenge and stuck it. And then everything was fine, but yeah.
And speaking of secondhand smoke, when Lisa and Mike attend support group, part of our group is to share with others if we're in the journey, where we're at in the journey, how many days we've been smoke-free or tobacco-free. And Lisa will say how many days she's been tobacco-free, and Mike will say how many days he's been secondhand smoke-free.
Yeah.
So that's really important when we talk about how does my smoking not only affect me, but affect others in my life. And so that's something that I know, Mike, that you talk about and share when it comes to being in the tobacco-free environment in your home.
Yeah, very nice.
What are some of the major health benefits that you noticed right away after quitting? Are there things that you noticed?
I think I was able to walk up a flight of stairs without being out of breath.
Really?
Still took me a little while, a couple of weeks probably, because I had 30 years under my belt of smoking. So, but once that happened, then everything, I mean, it's wonderful. Wonderful.
For those who have tried to quit many times and have not succeeded, what advice do you have for them?
I would tell them to keep trying. Keep trying. It's already in your mind that you want to quit. You didn't become a smoker overnight, so you're gonna have to reverse that. But it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable, and just keep trying.
I also want to add to that, we may think we're alone, but no one is alone in this process. There's help, there's groups, there's so many more things to help people now when it comes to quitting smoking. And different things, again, different things work for different people. So to really, when I work with people, such as Lisa, sometimes I'll ask, well, how many times have you tried to quit smoking? And if it could be 10 times or 15 times, what have you tried? Have you tried any medication? Have you tried going to a support group? So we just try to make sure that people know that there's resources available to help, and there's free statewide programs as well. So it really is, one of my mottos is never quit trying to quit. And that really, instead of viewing quitting when we don't succeed, instead of viewing that as a failure, I like to view that as a learning opportunity. So how many learning opportunities have you had? You wake up and it's a new day the next day, and what can we learn from the experience? I liked what you said about avoiding situations that you knew.
Right.
Thinking beforehand, how could this play out? When I was at this certain area, and maybe last week I was smoking, but here I am. What do I need to do to protect myself and protect my kids?
Right. And it's hard, but it's worth it. It's worth it. The less you put yourself into these situations, the better your chances of quitting smoking. So, yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Mike?
I'm just proud of the job she did. 2 years already. I'm sure she'll say the 2 years went fast and was worth it. So it's nice in restaurants that we just stay there together the whole time. She's not
after a meal.
After a meal.
It could be a big trigger for a lot of people.
So there's just a lot of little things there, people probably don't think about, but afterward it's very nice.
You know what I call those? Hidden benefits. Because sometimes we don't realize, Lisa, you had said something earlier about smoking just taking up a lot of time and space, and it really doesn't help us achieve anything. But when I have people that I work with, or Lisa herself has told me, wow, what am I going to do with all this time? Now I can develop and some new hobbies and some new things that I would have never tried before that I've still been smoking. I guess that may be about it. Anything else that you guys want to talk about?
Like I said, if anybody is thinking about smoking or quitting smoking, go ahead and find any support group that you can, one that's close to you, because they do help. And everybody's going to have suggestions, ideas, anything to help you to get to where you need to be. And I thank you for you and your group. I thank you.
Wow, you guys are...
And you too.
All right, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.